the opportunity to address the committee. I'm here to express my concern about Autumn Allen's speech and the apparent support from members of this committee. Does this committee consider having an anti-Semitic speaker address our students as a microaggression or macroaggression against the Jewish community, teachers, and students in Sharon? Would the committee find it acceptable for the school to bring in a speaker who endorsed people changing their practice of Islam? Autumn endorsed the idea of Jewish people changing our path for our Judaism and also indicated that we need to, quote, unlearn Zionist propaganda. She also promoted pro-Hamas accounts on Twitter. Are these acceptable stances? Or to quote the presidents of some Ivy League universities, does it depend on the context? She also endorses the chant from the river to the sea, AKA in Arabic, from water to water, Palestine will be Arab. Whose definitions should be accepted? The ones chanting it or the targeted group? It is my understanding that in other instances, it is the targeted group that defines the meaning. Autumn is, at least, the second anti-Semitic speaker that has been allowed to speak to our students. The first was the highly praised Olympian fencer, who at the time of her coming to the schools, she was and continues to be involved in a lawsuit with a Jewish teacher in New Jersey, where she was accused of spearheading an anti-Semitic campaign against the teacher. Similar to Autumn, the Olympian has called for a ceasefire, without calls to release the hostages and for the full surrender of Hamas, a designated terrorist organization. People who call for a ceasefire without calling for a Hamas surrender are tacitly supporting Hamas's call to commit another October 7th and to eradicate the world of all Jews. Will the DEI committee support J.K. Rowling, an incredibly creative and talented author who rose from poverty to tremendous success thanks to Harry Potter, but who has controversial views on transgender people allowed to come and talk to our students? Will the DEI committee support Paula Deen to come and discuss her career as a successful chef and cookbook author who just happened to say some racist slurs against Blacks? And as a point of clarification, it would be great if the DEI committee can remind me if they ever condemning Hamas's actions on October 7th. Thank you.
Okay, well, Sharon has prided itself in being a no place for hate community. Lawn signs all over town have claimed that. And yet we have a DEI committee, something that at its roots is racist and anti-Semitic. It's based on basically Marxist theology that's totally antithetical to the foundations of this country of mutual respect and individual liberty and responsibility. The very name DEI is just a lie right out in your face. Diversity, the root of that word is the word divide. Diversity has nothing to do with mutual respect, the kind of values that we ought to be emphasizing. It has to do with separating people and categorizing them. It's disgraceful. Equity pretends to be something laudable like equality, but again, it's the antithesis of that. A good analogy are the stories that are often told about Sodom and Gomorrah, where a stranger comes into the community and is given hospitality and a place to sleep. And if the person is tall and the bed is too short, they apply equity by cutting that person's legs off to fit the bed. If the person's too short, they exercise equity by stretching the person until the person fits the bed. That's equity. Has nothing to do with equality. It's absolutely the opposite. And inclusion is possibly the biggest lie of all, because inclusion refers to including the right people, the favored people. Certainly these days, Jews and Zionists don't have a right to feel included. It's despicable. It distresses me that we're spending.
Okay, time is up for that. Mira?
So, I'd like to ask, why hasn't this committee condemned the middle school for inviting an anti-Semitic speaker? This committee has condemned other committees for what people say at public forum. This committee has demanded that the entire Sharon Town government go to microaggression training. So isn't calling the October 7th attack resistance to oppression a microaggression, right? Right? I looked at the training this committee chose. This committee chose the definition that microaggression is defined by the impact on the listener, not by the speaker's intent. So when the speaker says, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, or in Arabic, it will be Arab, that wipes an entire country full of people off the map. That's a pretty big impact, right? So I looked even a little bit further at the training this committee chose. And that's when it hit me. Because according to the training this committee chose, a microaggression is only if it affects a marginalized group. So I have to ask, who are the unmarginalized people that this committee does not care about? I think this town deserves to get a list from the Sharon DEI Committee. Who are the groups of people this committee does not care about? You should post it on your website for everyone to see.